Hello and welcome to His, Hers, and Ours, Hers edition. Hope you're having a blessed day and that you enjoyed the holidays and had a good time with your family. So, part of Year of Clarity for me is talking about history, right? Whose history? Our history, the world's history, the planet's history, God's history. Why can't they all be the same? Why is it that we need to dissect and put things into category that says this is a religious belief or this is a scientific belief or this is a historical finding? Everything comes together. It's a commingling of a lot of information that has been eluded with the opinion of men, with men that had the ability and power enough to learn how to read and write after the written language was established, and then had the materials to actually imprint the writing, right? So you figure that was stones and chisels, and then it was paper, and then books, and then the printing press, and all of those things. So none of this was cheap. So this wasn't available to poor people. So these people that were documenting all of this stuff were just people. None of them vowed or had a belief in honesty and being 100% truthful because they were unbiased. We cannot stop the fact that people are biased, that we are biased. It's almost impossible to break the beliefs that you have or not have any misconstrued beliefs about something. So to assume that something that has been passed down and changed numerous times over thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years is accurate, 100% accurate. I'm not saying that it's all false. I'm not saying that, there's not something that you can't gain out of it, but you have to understand that men have manipulated the documentation and the history that we have received till today. I mean, there might be documentation out there that's been interpreted and translated, and then we'll find out later that the translation or the cipher that was used was completely wrong. So we do not actually know what those documents say. It was just convenient for people at that time to translate it because they were trying to create a narrative. And they said, well, this that you don't understand says this, and this is what you have to follow. And you're going to follow it because this is what we said. We are the smart people. We are the people in power. We are the people that have this knowledge, whether it be from science, from God, or from wherever else. Or just having power because you're the king and you're the emperor, the power that rules all powers. See, that's the problem, is that we're supposed to be learning. We're supposed to be learning from each other. We're supposed to be learning from nature. Look at animals and how they survive and how they don't need to worry about paying their rent or getting their food. I mean, they do if there's a drought or if there's overpopulation of humans or there's things like that. But in rural places where animals get to live free, or even in my backyard where the squirrels have all their space and I leave them their nuts and their mushrooms and their little habitat around the oak wood tree that's back there, they have a whole communication, a way of life, a way they do things. They protect each other, they fight. I've seen them fight off a little hawk. Well, it wasn't a little hawk, it was a big hawk, and survive and be shook up and then, like, pretty much give them a finger and then run away. Insane. But we as humans, we worry about so much and we fight so much and we're so jealous of each other and we want to compete so much when it's absolutely unnecessary. Anyway, history. So when I was in school, humanity taught one version of history, another one was taught in history. Well, actually, I only did US history, so it didn't go back to the very, very beginning, but it'll be included in this conversation. And then science and astrology gave another story, right? And then, of course, we have the Bible. So if we look at all of these, there was a Big Bang, which was an explosion of a dying star, and it sucked in all the matter around it and created our solar system. And in the middle of that solar system, there was a planet. At the time that it was formed, it did not have the ability to sustain life. So after however many millions of years of it rotating, there was a collision which resulted in the moon. So the moon basically came out of its orbit. Something happened somewhere and it flew towards the Earth. It like banged into it, it bounced away and got caught in our orbit. So that's how we got the moon. And something that was on the moon, some particles, got stuck on the Earth, which allowed it to grow and adapt and become the Earth where the first amoeba came out from, right? So the amoeba walked out the ocean and then it mutated and mutated and mutated and mutated and mutated in Neanderthal man, aka cavemen. So then in humanities, they say that the planet was formed the same way, they don't dispute how the planet came to be, but Homo sapiens walked out South Africa, I want to say it was, and walked up all of Africa and whatever's there, all the way up to Egypt, walked across to where Alaska and Canada, and then walked down. So, like, basically this big U and trickled all the way down to South America, right? So, all these people over these thousands of years ended up in different locations, but started from the same group of people that originally walked out together. Now, none of the videos I watched explained where this group of people came from, how they were related, or how they were already adults when they walked out. They just walked out. So, science says that after analyzing all this DNA that people keep voluntarily putting into the system, they found most people, I don't want to say all people, have the same mitochondrial DNA, which is the very root of our mother. It's what's passed along, like from every person, the first particle, right? The very beginning. How is that possible? Very, very weird. But apparently, out of all the people that walked, that DNA was, or those genes were the strongest. They were able to adapt. They were able to survive and become the people that we are today. So what does that mean? It means that some way, somehow, we are all related. We all come from this group of people that walked out together. We're all cousins, 1,000 times removed. So we should be nicer to each other. The reason we look different is because as they walked, you know, the hunter-gatherers accidentally found out that they could actually farm and grow some of the seeds from the things that they had eaten, and people decided to settle in different areas, and then they had to adapt to those areas, their complexions, their eyes, their hair color, their height. All of these things have to adapt to your environment just like any other animal. Then we'll fast forward to years later. The ice melts, the continents separate. It's not so easy to get from one place to the other anymore. And society grows in different places in different ways. Some people built the pyramids, some people built buildings and structures, others still lived in tribes and huts and teepees. Some were still following the hunter-gatherer mentality, and some of them were still farmers. There was business, there was commerce. Everything was growing and adapting, and society was moving forward. And at some point, there was a rumor about this guy named Christ, that he was going around making miracles. Now, we hadn't touched on religion yet, right? Because religion says that God said, "Let there be light." There was light. Let there be this. Let there be that. Da, 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 da. And it took him 7 days. But maybe it was more like he just flicked a marble. He set off an explosion. He made sure that the collision happened. He made sure that all things were in the right place in order for us to come about, be born, right? So there were a lot of pagan religions because there were a lot of people in a lot of different places. The Neanderthal men were found, or not men, people were found to have carry their tools and work belts and stuff that they would need in the afterlife. They knew that this was not the end, that this was just the first trial of many. Same with some Homo sapiens societies that they found the burials. They were buried with belongings or safekeepings, or they were given coins for the ferry to cross on the river. So belief in the afterlife is not something that started within the last couple hundred years. This is something that goes back to the beginning of society, or of Neanderthal slash Homo sapien existence. So how do they know? What do they believe? Why do they believe that this wasn't the end? What gave them the courage and to say, okay, well, I'm dying now, but I know that I have another job to do afterwards. That's something that we actually don't do. We don't feel like we're going to go to heaven and we need our tools and we have to do more work when we get over there, or we're going to have to survive. It's not a round two. It's like, we're going to heaven. Yay, we made it. Our work is done. But I don't know where that came from. The Bible? Anyway, distracted. So in order for Rome to have full control over all the pagans that were around them and get access to the skills and materials that they didn't have, that these savages did have, they adopted a religion that encompassed a lot of pagan rituals and statues and beliefs, and they adapted it to their Catholic religion, God, or to their God, I should say. They attached it to their God. And they went out there to these different places and they said, this is God. This is what he wants. This is God. You have to listen to him. He wants you to not just like that. He wants you to come to church every Sunday, and he wants you to give tidings. So you have to give us offerings of what you have worked or what he has provided you with, and you have to give back so that you can have more, right? Your pagan gods are wrong. You have to follow our God. Our God is the path forward. And then anytime something went wrong, famine or drought or sick, they would say, see, your God, your pagan gods aren't helping you, but if you come over here, we definitely have enough food, we have enough water, we have medicine. Our God is so fruitful and so powerful, and he provides. Again, these are all my opinions. So they had a lot of different versions of this church in the beginning. So they heard about Christ and they said, wow, this guy's out there doing all of these things, and he's basically doing the opposite of what we're doing. He's giving freely, he's inspiring, he's creating miracles. It's like he can walk on water. How about we make him our Messiah? Make him the person that everyone should follow. We'll allow him to continue to go out there. We'll spread rumors and put out the story of how he's the Son of God and how what he's saying contradicts the Jerusalem belief, and allow him to be crucified. And then you can tell all the people, look what he did for you. And there'll be more hope, right? It's wrong to say. It sounds horrible. But propaganda and marketing is something that has existed as long as there were people who were trying to sell stuff to other people. Oh, I forgot to cover the banking system, but I guess that's for another day. Anyway, so was Christ the Son of God? We are all the children of God. We all have that piece of him inside of us that he had to put in us so that we could be powered and energized and guided to do what we need to do. That's our energizer battery that's inside of us that we didn't even realize that was there. That's also slash GPS. But what happened to him and the people that they put around him and that infiltrated his friends, his family, and the coloring that has been put on it by people who just want to control the narrative. It's always been about controlling the narrative, okay? So if we've been following this control system, these words that have been adapted by men, that of listening to nature and finding the flow of the world around us, of the energies of negative energy and positive energy. Doing good things begets good things, doing bad things begets bad things. Being a good person will get you further than being a bad person. Now, will bad people be rich and have great cars and look like they have an amazing life? Yes. So will good people. But the difference is happiness. Okay. You can be broke and sleeping on a blanket outside, not knowing where your next meal is coming from. But if you are happy with the person that you love, with the people that you love, if you are secure in knowing that you are doing the best that you can do, you'll be okay. You'll come out of it. There will be a way where just life is going to take care of you. But it's just, it takes time. Everything takes time, and we want everything right now in the moment. So the Lutheran, I think it was Martin Luther, who realized what the church was doing, trying to brainwash people and just basically get rich off of the poor. They were literally taking their money and making them pay for their loved one's passage on the ferry. Like, how horrible is that? That's not something that's necessary. You don't have to pay here on earth for something that's going to happen in the afterlife. That's so stupid, but that's what the church did. They were greedy and nasty, and it hasn't changed. So, anyway, new religions broke out, Christianity was born, different versions of Christianity was born. Christ is a beacon. He is something for you to be like. You should accept Christ is who you want to be. You want to help people. You want to be kind. You want to perform miracles. Yes, we might not be able to make people see if they're blind, but you know what? You might be able to buy somebody a pair of glasses if this mother can't afford to give her son some, or something like that. You know, there are ways that we could perform little miracles for the people around us. Live in forgiveness. Don't hold things against people. Like, you know, your best friends are the ones that sometimes do you dirty, and you should learn your lesson, keep it moving, but forgive. You don't have to forget, but you do have to forgive so that you can grow, so that you can move forward in enlightenment and in your path to success and greatness and love and happiness. It's a hard journey. It's not something that's found easily. There's a lot of stumbling and tripping. But anyway, our history lesson is probably going to have to end for today. Thank you for listening to His, Hers, and Ours, Hers Edition. Hope you were able to gain something out of this episode. Please forward it to anyone who needs it. And don't forget to like us on Facebook. Till next time, have a good day and stay blessed.